Hello and welcome to Brewers Daily, part of the Fan Arch Podcast Network. This episode is brought to you by Kalshi. Use promo code FANARCHBASEBALL to get $10 when you trade 10. I'm Dave Gasper. Lots to get to here on this show. A somewhat eventful Tuesday night in Milwaukee. It seemed like it was trending not to be. Cal Harrison putting together a solid start. The Brewers offense being able to put up a couple of runs, get a couple of homers. Okay, cool. And a shutout victory over the St. Louis Cardinals. Sounds great. Sounds like followed the script kind of Tuesday night in Milwaukee. And then Abner Uribe happens. Oh my goodness. So Abner Uribe comes in for the 8th inning in a 6-0 game. And he strikes out Alec Burleson looking on a pitch that barely clips the bottom of the zone. And then, in a celebration, because Uribe does, the emotes in the celebration, does the arm up, does a pound in the chest, does roll on the dice, all these different things. He switched it up, and this time he hit the old school wrestling DX chop directly at the St. Louis Cardinals dugout. So, naturally, that raised quite a few eyebrows at that one. Fans everywhere thought it was absolutely hilarious. You want to know who didn't find it hilarious? Pat Murphy, unsurprisingly. So Pat Murphy comes in post-game, and obviously we're talking about the Abner Uribe situation and what happened there, because Murph was certainly very displeased. The way the Cardinals were kind of looking at the Brewers is kind of like, what in the world was that? Pat Murphy doing his best damage control post-game, saying that's unacceptable. I don't know what got over him. I mean, he's been an emotional guy, but that kind of thing, that's just not how we do things, and I was embarrassed by it. So Pat Murphy putting his foot down, saying, look, we're not going to tolerate that. That's unacceptable. Doing his best damage control, apologizing for what happened, giving the talking to Abner Uribe, calming things down as best as he could. Because, I mean, that's kind of his spot as manager. When you do that DX chop directly at the opposing dugout, that's going to, cause some problems. That's going to cause some perhaps hurt feelings, and you wonder if, like, oh, no, like, what are the Cardinals going to do perhaps in response to this? What was even funnier was that Alec Burleson did an ABS challenge of that pitch, and it just barely clipped. Like, if that had gotten overturned, and it was a ball and that bat had to continue, oh man, that would have been something. It would have been hilarious. But anyways, side point, I digress. Then we get to Abner Uribe. Pat Murphy has calmed things down. It's like, okay, I think we're going to be fine, but we want to talk to Abner Uribe. Abner Uribe just pours gasoline right back on that fire and just gets it going again. So we ask Abner what went into all that, and he said, yeah, he apologized to the Brewers, to his teammates, his coaches, to the higher-ups, the owners, all the bosses there. But he also said he doesn't think it's professional for the St. Louis Cardinals and their manager to be making signals to the Brewers dugout that they are intending to hit Brewers players during this series. He said that was going on Monday, that they were signaling to the Brewers dugout that they were going to intentionally hit some of the Brewers players. He named Christian Yelich and William Contreras as two of the players they were intending to hit. Quick note, neither of those players were hit in either of these two games this series. And also cited an event pregame on the field during practice that occurred on Tuesday that led to this. So he called out the Cardinals, saying that they were unprofessional. There was an incident that happened pregame on Tuesday, and that throughout the series, the Cardinals were signaling, making whatever signals to the Brewers dugout that they were intending to hit Brewers hitters. So he wanted to let his teammates know he had their back, and kind of send that message back to the Cardinals. So that doesn't really totally add up. I wasn't a math major, but I'm not sure all of this adds up because, again, first of all, none of the Brewers hitters were hit. Christian Yelich was not hit by a pitch yesterday or Tuesday, or Monday or Tuesday. Christian Yelich or William Contreras was not hit by a pitch. There wasn't really even any insane like brushback pitches to anyone during this series so far. Now, as for the incident that happened pregame, the natural follow-up was asked, what happened? And Abner Uribe said, I declined to comment on that. Interesting. Didn't want to talk on the record about whatever that incident was that led to this. Now, also, I was on the field there for pregame when both teams were sharing the field. I did not see any incident. If there was something that happened, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but if there was something, it was not this big ruckus that caused a whole bunch of people to come over and this whole big thing. It had to have been just kind of a short interaction, just kind of something, just two guys talking, and it never escalated into anything crazy. But clearly something irked Abner Uribe and got under his skin. So whatever it was, he did not fully tell us that, but he did go on the record saying that the Cardinals were intending to hit Brewers hitters. So he let his teammates know that he has their back always by hitting the DX chop at the Cardinals dugout. Interesting. Pat Murphy said he wouldn't be surprised if MLB, imposes some sort of punishment on Uribe, which I also thought was interesting. Seems like he's calling for a fine or suspension of his own player, which is interesting. But I think Murphy kind of wants a message sent there to Uribe. Let's not do that again. So I would also envision Uribe is not going to be pitching in Wednesday's game here. But we'll get into the pitching plan a bit later on here. So Uribe just stoking these flames. Very, very interesting. I mean, the last time we talked to him post-game, it was after he blew a save. He was not happy to talk to anyone. And now, this time, we're talking to him, and it's after some kind of emotional outburst there that led to the DX chop. Now, fans everywhere were loving it. And, look, maybe in general, as a thing, it could be possible. But when you direct it right at the opposing dugout, that's going to be more of an issue. If you just kind of have it in general, either towards your own dugout or something, it might be a bit more doable. The emotes themselves, first of all, they've gotten longer and more intricate. And like that itself is kind of okay, that's a little bit out there for a reliever to do after an inning-ending thing. And now he just kind of adds this in there, and I don't know. It was funny. That is for certain. But Pat Murphy's trying to calm it down. Abner Uribe stokes the flames once again. So we'll see if anything happens here on Wednesday. I wouldn't be surprised if something did, but I also wouldn't be surprised if absolutely nothing happened in this series. But we are going to see, Cardinals players are going to have seen what Abner Uribe said. They're going to. First of all, here's my question: why would an opposing manager signal to the other manager that we are going to intentionally hit your guy? What does that signal? What do those hand signals look like? It's like we are going to throw at your head. What? Are they playing charades with this? Why would they ever signal to the other side, we are going to intentionally hit your guy? They never let you know that. They never let you know that that's going to be coming. Because then, opposing manager can go to the home plate umpire and be like, hey, they signal to us, they're going to intentionally hit our guy. If they do, you got to throw them out, whatever else. You got to send warnings, whatever else. Because that's going to spill over tensions already. I feel like that does not happen. I've never been a big league coach or anything, but I feel like it doesn't happen where they send hand signals or whatever to the other dugout saying that we are going to throw at you. I don't envision that actually being the case. I'm a little bit skeptical of that. Again, the incident, maybe. I'm not sure what it was. I didn't see any big scrum, but Uribe was very upset. And it led to quite the incident. And it kind of took a bit of the story away from what it was, which was Kyle Harrison having a fantastic start once again. Not as perhaps dominant. He did not have the gaudy strikeout numbers. His last time out, he had 11 strikeouts. This time, he had just 2, but also no walks, no runs, scattered just 4 hits. He was looking really, really darn good throughout this game. Didn't have his best stuff, but got the results. Had some great defense behind him. David Hamilton playing great over there at shortstop. He did have an error early on, kind of short hop to throw, but still two really, really good plays out there at shortstop. Bryce Trang snags a line drive with a snow cone. That was lovely to see as well. So some great defense behind Harrison. And the Brewers have won 7 straight games that Harrison has started. Now, if you remember last year, the Brewers acquired another pitcher from the Boston Red Sox, Quinn Priester, and they won 19 consecutive games that he started. And now, this year, the Brewers acquired Kyle Harrison from the Red Sox, and they have won 7 straight games that he has started. So, look, the Red Sox probably should stop trading with the Brewers in their own best interest. But hey, if they want to keep going, I'm sure Matt Arnold will continue to take advantage. But Kyle Harrison has turned into an absolute stud, and the Brewers have needed him to be, and it is fantastic. I mean, you look at his numbers on the season now. I mean, he just continues. I mean, he's got a scoreless streak now of 18 innings. Going back over his last 3 starts, Harrison's ERA has dropped to 157 on the season. 157. Just incredible. 51 and 2/3 innings, 61 strikeouts, a 102 whip. Just phenomenal stuff. And also, over this 18-inning scoreless stretch, 1 walk. Just 1 walk allowed, 20 strikeouts. Just insane types of numbers. And Kyle Harrison has turned into an absolute stud. The Brewers pitching lab, the H&H car wash, as Pat Murphy calls it, has done phenomenal work once again to get this guy going. And you can also do some phenomenal work over at Kalshi, where you can trade every single game. And, as we talked about, we leaned back into the Brewers by 1.5. And once again, it works. Brewers with a 6-0 win. Again, you got to keep following here, okay? Like, I'm getting some good stuff here for you guys. And when you use code FANARCHBASEBALL, you get $10 when you trade 10. So we can just keep turning this money into more money. I'm trying to help you guys out here, okay? Have you seen the cost of gas lately? Absolutely. We're trying to help each other out here. So, on Kalshi, you can trade every single game. And we got the Brewers finale here today. And, could we lean back again on the Brewers by 1.5? We could. We could look at that. But also, I'm seeing a couple of player props here as well that are a possibility. And, Christian Yelich at 1.5 total bases. And Christian Yelich was moved into the leadoff spot for the game on Tuesday and got a couple of hits. So that means he got more than 1.5 total bases. So we get Christian Yelich on a hot streak here. Christian Yelich currently trading at 40% to get more than 1.5 total bases. And that means a $100 trade pays out $234 with a win. So if you're feeling good about Christian Yelich out there and getting 2 total bases, that's a trade to be able to make right there. So for a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code FANARCHBASEBALL to get $10 when you trade 10. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. So KALSHI, Kalshi, trade on anything. And use that promo code there, FANARCHBASEBALL. All right, so what's going to happen here with the pitching staff? Pat Murphy going back and forth a little bit during the pregame media session on Tuesday. Originally, we thought Coleman Crowe was going to be pitching on Wednesday here, but instead, it is Coleman Crowe pitching on Friday for the opener against the Houston Astros, and it's going to be kind of more of a Johnny Holstaff kind of day for the Brewers here on Wednesday to finish out this series against the Cardinals. Now, Pat Murphy did not name any names, as we left Tuesday night. It was, TBA and TBD as possibilities there for who's going to start the game here today. I would imagine it's going to be some combination of Chad Patrick and Shane Drowan in this game. So I would imagine we would see at least one, possibly both of those guys. But the Brewers do have a bunch of bulk options in their bullpen. Patrick and Drowan, obviously two of the more notable ones that they have. So I would imagine probably some sort of a piggyback there for those guys. Pat Murphy has not named one. I'm sure as this episode gets going and as you're watching this, the starter will be out at this time. But still, really for the Brewers, they have the depth with the rotation. They have all these guys out in the bullpen that they can go with. I mean, you have Carlos Rodriguez back there as well that I don't envision that they would actually do. To start at least. But you got Drowan, you got Patrick. Ashby can give you length. DL Hall can give you length. Carlos Rodriguez can give you length. Jake Woodford can give you length. I don't envision they would start him either. But you've got a whole bunch of guys there that you can go with. But I would be surprised if it's not a piggyback somehow of Drowan and Patrick to get multiple innings in this game as they try and cover it. Logan Henderson went on the IL. We're talking about him having that back tightness that was getting worse. So Logan Henderson goes there, and that's how Coleman Crow gets called up to the active roster to start on Friday. Henderson saying that he's already started to make a little bit of progress there, but he was having some issues doing some everyday things, tying his shoes and things like that. Trying to throw a baseball. The back tightness was giving him issues there, so. Not quite able to push through it. He ends up going on the IL, and Coleman Crow comes up, and he gets more than a one-day stint in the major leagues. We actually get to see him, which is nice. Coleman Crow, but he'll be starting on the road there in Houston, and he's going to start on Friday. And meanwhile, Wednesday here is going to be that combination of guys already on the roster, according to Murphy. So. Again, I would imagine Drowan and Patrick pitching in some capacity here today. All right. Finally, let's talk about the offense a little bit because they did put up 6 runs on Tuesday. Garrett Mitchell putting up half of them with a 3-run homer in the 5th inning. And just it was absolutely fantastic. It was a hanging slider, an absolute cement mixer that did nothing, that just hung up there. And Garrett Mitchell punished it to dead center. 421 feet, the longest home run of his career. So that's great to see him able to punish the baseball like that. That's very nice because again, Mitchell's had some of those, obviously the struggles that we've talked about here. Being a player still kind of trying to get his feet wet in the major leagues because he's missed so much time. But again, Mitchell's staying healthy. But he has the home run. Great. Fantastic. That's in the 5th inning. His other 3 at-bats, strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. So that's still a bit of a concern here. The strikeout rate that he has, it is way too high. He's going to need to work on that and bring that down. It seemed like he was starting to make some progress, especially on the high fastball. But still, Garrett Mitchell, he has a potential. He has the power to do damage and punish mistakes. But when pitchers don't make mistakes, he does kind of struggle making contact. So there is still some work in progress to be made there for Garrett Mitchell. But, yeah, I mean, you'll take the successes there. You'll take the wins and the 3-run homer. And just kind of look for him to continue to make those adjustments and continue to try and improve that strikeout rate as the season goes along. So... great success, great night there, but it does kind of overshadow the 3 other at-bats that ended without making contact. So keeping that in mind as well. But the Brewers have a chance for a sweep here over the St. Louis Cardinals. The Chicago Cubs continue to lose, which is great and hilarious. So the Brewers are extending their lead in the NL Central, which is always nice to see, and the Brewers can really punctuate that with a win here today over the Cardinals. We'll see if any sort of funny business ends up happening, especially if the Cardinals are able to take a lead, see what kind of they take care of. But it is going to be quite the afternoon at the ballpark here today. So appreciate all of you watching and listening. Be sure to subscribe to Brewers Daily if you haven't already. Get notified every single time a new episode drops. Follow me on Twitter at dgasper24. Got tons of great content from inside the clubhouse coming up over there as well. And we'll see you again next time for another episode of Brewers Daily.